time. He just told me something I didn't know. His very first voice acting gig was in 1969. I started in 1975, so I was blown away by that. You know him as Jet Black. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Beau Billingslea. Somebody out there and let them have it. Here we go. Excellent. Well, here's some cold water for you and a wireless microphone.
Okay.
The two don't go together very well.
Hello, hey, all you space cowboys. And cowgirls, right?
You may have any seat you like. Make yourself as comfortable as you can
Well, I want
be.
to sit with the ladies, so where we? Okay.
Anywhere you like.
All right.
Maybe get the ladies to come sit on your lap. Talk about the first thing that pops up.
John, that's another panel.
Oh, that's tonight. That's tonight, right? So, tonight at 8:30 is the Sexy Naughty Late Night Party. I hope you can
That's
come.
that one, right? I
hope
might
you
be
come.
busy. My wife told me I'm going to be busy.
She doesn't want you to go.
She's in LA, but she told me I'm going to be busy.
Well, I gotta ask you a question now.
Yeah.
In a show that's all about bounty hunters,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
If there was actually a bounty out on Beau Billingslea, what would it be for?
About $5.
You're not notorious or wanted for anything?
No.
Except your mellifluous tones.
You're right, my little tones. And my grandkids want my money, so.
That's never gonna end. That's forever.
That's true.
Okay, let's bring on our next guest,
All right.
who you know best as Edward or Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Melissa Fahn. Come on out. Shane has a microphone for you. You can sit anywhere you like. Please be comfortable. Be careful of Beau.
Can't we all sit together?
Yeah.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, baby.
Nice. Aw. Melissa, same question I'm going to ask that I asked Beau. I'm going to ask of you. If there was actually a bounty out on Melissa Fahn, what would it be for?
Probably constantly breaking my diet.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that a criminal
Is
offense?
that a criminal offense? I don't know. I'm so good.
You're so good?
Yeah, I'm so good. I don't know.
You're never naughty? You don't misbehave at all?
No, I don't.
Aw.
I'm really good.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a lie. That's
Based
a
on
lie.
some of the characters you've played, I would not have considered that, but okay.
I guess I'm boring. I'm boring. I'm just so good.
You are not born.
Yeah.
We love you for that. Okay, our third panelist here for Cowboy Bebop, you know, it's Faye Valentine. Give it up for Wendee Lee, everybody. And you get to throw a happy star if you want to anybody you want. And it goes best if you throw it like a frisbee.
I didn't get a star.
Let's see how Wendee does with this.
I didn't get one. I need a star. Okay, throw it.
Alright, because I'm going to put a little Konata Lucky Star on.
Oh.
Throw it hard.
Nice. Welcome. Make yourself comfortable, Wendee. Anywhere you want to sit is just fine.
No pressure to sit near us.
There's nowhere else I'd rather be.
I feel like I did something wrong because they're all sitting as far away from me as possible. But that's okay. I won't hold it against you because I'm sitting all the way over here.
Oh, okay.
Do you want us to read?
Oh no, you be comfortable wherever you want to be,
It doesn't
please.
matter. You want to leave? Let's go over there. All right. You're going to sit over here near this thug. How am I getting wrapped up with this guy?
Careful now, careful. Hey Shane, when you get a chance, Beau likes cold water. So lots of that for him. So Wendee, I have to ask you the same intro question, okay?
Yes.
There is, of course, because you're in Cowboy Bebop, there is a bounty out for Wendee Lee. What's that bounty for?
Oh, I thought it was for Faye. So all that
Oh no,
preparation.
it's all about you. I'm going to ask a lot of personal questions today.
He's a bad girl.
All for me.
Oh, we know about Faye.
True. You know, honestly, I might have to get real for a minute and say it would be for stopping any kind of animal cruelty because of my love for animals and my die-hearted commitment to being vegan and plant-based. So yeah, I got the bad guys. You got those guys. You saw them when they heard that, and I got them.
Nice, nice. So you're an animal lover.
Indeed. We all are.
If you didn't already know, tomorrow morning at 11:30 downstairs, where the autograph section is, I have a panel called Jon St. John's Precious Puppies Panel. So, Adopt a Dog has 15 puppies in our pen tomorrow morning. And for a $10 donation, any of you can get into the pen and let the puppies attack you. And it's where I'll be doing my Q&A. I'll be attacked by puppies while fans ask questions.
It's a very unique idea, man.
That's 11:30 tomorrow morning. I'd love for the three of you to come down if you want to play with puppies and get on the TV news and all that kind of stuff.
For adoption, is
They are up for adoption. We're hoping they all get homes.
Oh, let's give an applause for that.
We'd love to see you there if you can come play with the puppies for a while. Everybody's invited. Okay, let's get right to FAQs. And these are not frequently asked questions. These are fans asked questions. I have been polling fans for quite some time to find out what they most want to know about the Cowboy Bebop panel. So let's start with Beau, and then we'll move across. What's your favorite role of all of the roles you've played in your career? What's your favorite role?
Jet Black.
Gotta be. Gotta be. He's such a badass.
Yeah,
He really is.
But you know, he's sort of macho, but not so much.
But still cool.
Yeah. He loves the gang, but he won't admit it. And when they leave, he's sad, but he won't admit it. Right? I don't know if you guys remember when the whole gang left, and Jet's there talking to Ein and saying, "I'm glad they're gone. I don't care. I don't need them. What do I care?" And then he hears a noise. "Spike, is that you?"
So he's in denial.
Yeah, he's in deep denial.
I get you. Melissa, what about you? What's your favorite role of all of the roles you've played?
Favorite role of all roles? Well, I do love Radical Edward.
Oh, sure.
Because she's just so a part of me. But there's another character that sticks in my head because it was the very first character my very first voiceover job, and then I ended up doing for so many years is the voice of Betty Boop.
Mm-hmm.
And Betty Boop also is, I grew up like wearing Betty Boop t-shirts. Now I'm wearing a Radical Edward t-shirt. But Betty Boop was just so iconic, and I worked with the original Fleischer family, and it was just something so iconic and so like life-changing for me. And similar to Edward, there's a connection here, is that they both had that kind of like rubber hose, limbs.
Yeah.
And Edward is very fluid, Betty is very fluid and, undulating always, kind of, I guess. But there's just something similar in the look of them, if you look at the animation of
I'm
that.
so glad you brought them up. I have to ask a favor.
What's that?
Today is my mother's 88th birthday.
Come on.
Her name is Betty.
Betty!
She's been called Betty Boop forever.
What?
The license plate on her car, which she doesn't drive anymore, says Ms. Boop.
Come on!
Would you? Okay, so,
Yes.
and wrap it with a boop boopy doop. You don't have to leave that.
No.
Okay, so, Mom, happy birthday again. I got a special surprise for you, the voice of Betty Boop. The actual voice of Betty Boop, Melissa Fahn.
Hello, Betty. I have a little song for you. It goes something like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Betty. Love, Betty. Happy birthday to you. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop, boop-boop-a-doop-boop.
Yes! You just made my day and my mom's birthday. Thank you so much. She is gonna love that. Now she's on a plane flying to Virginia right now. But as soon as she lands this evening,
Oh, she's flying right now?
from Las Vegas back to, I just saw her in Vegas a couple of days ago. Now she's flying home, and I'm gonna send her that video.
Send her that.
Thank you so much.
It is
That was
my
great.
pleasure. Oh my goodness.
Wendee Lee, of all the roles you've played,
Follow that.
you just have to tell us what your favorite acting role has been.
Honestly, you always love the character that you're working with at the moment, and you have great affection for them. And also, your characters feel like your children, so there's almost like a betrayal when you call out your favorites, Faye Valentine. But some of them you just can't help but love more than others, and I really love my kind of girl power positive message girls. Umi from Magic Knight Ray Earth. There's a chance that might be coming back, fingers crossed.
Oh, fingers
so
crossed.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I'm an ancient Egyptophile, so when I got to play Nephra Denial in Monster High,
Cool.
that was very exciting.
Nice.
She's gorgeous, and she's got attitude and moxie, and it's just so much fun. And I really love Queen Serenity from Sailor Moon and her positive messages, and Twilight Suzuka in Outlaw Star. And there's interesting
Oh, so your favorites are powerful women roles with positivity.
Ultimately,
Right?
yes, really. When you leave a positive message with the characters that you play, it's just dually satisfying. There's something just very rich, and you kind of have an opportunity to keep giving to your fans and to kind of making inroads to positive storytelling. So that's certainly something I'm into. And I love my edgy girls. I play a lot of them. And they're really fun, and celebrating, strength, female strength, and equalizing a cast with women that are just as strong as the men is great honor as well. But yes, Faye Valentine is my signature girl.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And she's a thief. You stole all the woolongs.
Some of us like money.
This is true.
The way we all got into voice acting varies depending on where you were, what year it was. Beau, how did you get into voice acting? And I think you told me 1969 was your first gig.
1969, yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
Just a few.
And actually, I just graduated from law school, and so I went down to New York just to kick around, see what's what, and so I auditioned for it, and so I did the voice of a coach in a puppet movie, and I don't even remember the name of the movie. So
An inspirational coach figure?
yeah, that's what it was.
That motivational speech?
Yeah, a lot of coaches, especially back in the day, they felt they had to yell and scream at you. Football coaches, they had to yell and scream at you like you're a drill sergeant in the military. But now this end of my career, I was asked to do it. Doug Stone, a good friend of ours, he was a producer on. They were dubbing foreign live-action films. Like there'd be a German film, and we dub it into English, and there would be an African actor. So I said I would do it for my father because I'm from Nigeria, and so I can get away. Back then, you can get away with like a general African accent, but now you got to get northwestern Nigerian or southern Ugandan and all of that. But anyway, so one day I went in to do the gig, and he asked me if I wanted to do an anime, and I said, "Cool, what's that?" And so he said, "So yeah, that would be fun," and so that's how I got started, and the rest is history.
Melissa, how about you? What got you started?
Yeah, back to my Betty Boop story. So I had been acting and singing and dancing for years, and I had gone out on a few voiceover auditions before I got my first voiceover job. And the first one I went out for was Ariel for The Little Mermaid. And I had several callbacks where they kept bringing me back to Disney, and they showed me the stills of Ariel as blonde or a redhead or a brunette. They didn't know what she was going to be then. Okay, so that was all like through my TV and film agent. And then I remember I took a day job. I moved out of my parents' house, and I took a day job working for a post-production house, which was like it was a commercial post-production house, so they were editing commercials. And I was the receptionist. And one day a casting director named Elaine Craig, which I'm sure you guys
We
all
know that name.
Elaine Craig. And Elaine wrote a book, and she wrote about my story in her book, because I feel like it's a very Hollywood story that just doesn't happen. But they would let me go out on auditions. I said, I'll take the job. I needed a day job in between auditions and acting jobs. And I said, I'll take the job only if you just let me go out on my auditions. And they said, yes, of course. You know, so sometimes I'd have to have an hour extra or whatever, but they were great to me. So Elaine Craig comes in, and this is in the days where they brought in cassettes or reels of voice actors, and I was working for this company that, like, they were doing a Toyota spot or whatever spot, and they were looking for voiceover actor, you know, reels. So she brought in the reels, and I accepted, and she said, are you an actor? And I said, yes. And she said, do you do voice acting? And I said, well, no, not yet. I had this one audition for Little Mermaid, but whatever, and that it hadn't even come out yet. And she said, you should put a tape together and bring it over to my office. And she said, do anything, like read magazines, read copy of magazine, or just do anything. So a couple of days go by, and I hadn't done it. And she called, and she said, have you done that demo yet? And it was only a few days later, I said, no. And I said, no, I haven't. She said, I have an audition for you. I think you should come in. And her office was right next to where I work, like a building over. It was like near the crossroads in the
How
world.
convenient.
Yeah, so I walked over on my lunch break, right? And she said, we're looking for the new voice of Betty Boop. And we want to cast an unknown. And Mae Questel, who was the original, had aged out. I think she had done Roger Rabbit. And then that was it. And they said it's a new series. It's called Betty Boop's Hollywood Mystery. Sorry, my phone. Sorry. Thank you. And so I went in and I read, and there were all these actresses there. And then I went back, and she called and she said, I want you to come back. I want you to meet Dick Fleischer, Richard Fleischer, who was Max Fleischer created Betty Boop and Popeye and Beetle Bailey, these old rubber hosey characters. So I went back and I met Richard Fleischer, and then I went back to, this was maybe like a day later or something, and she called and she said, it's you got it. And then he took me under his wing, and it was a tremendous part of my life that I will never forget. I was flown to San Francisco. We recorded the whole series in San Francisco, and then they flew me to New York when it came out, and we did a whole screening and a premiere, and I met Mae Questel there. And she came up to me, this little lady, and she said in her organic Boop voice, you know, you're good. Thank you.
Well, you got a fantastic start then.
So
it was convenient too.
It was convenient, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have to, drive to it at least.
Right.
So that just led to not only doing Betty and toys and games and things and whatever there's a Betty voice, but it just opened every single door. Elaine said, what agent do you want to be with? Mm-hmm. You need a voiceover agent. I said, well, who should I be with? And she said, you should be with William Morris. So I was with William Morris for years
Was
and
that
years.
your first agent?
Yes.
Mine too.
Voiceover with Charles
Yeah.
Neal, and Nina Nissenholtz.
Yep.
I was with in that time. So anyways, that is how I got into voiceover. It's a real Hollywood story, but it was
And it was Eric Seastrand for me, by the way.
Oh.
Did you know Eric?
No, I did not.
I did a lot of commercial stuff for them.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
Betty Fanning was the commercial agent when I was there. So.
I was probably a few years ahead of you there, quite possibly. How about you, Wendee? What led you to voice acting? How did you get started?
I knew somehow I was going to get into animation, and I wasn't really sure how, and at the time there wasn't really an avenue to follow. You did have to have an agent, and yes, we had reel-to-reel demos and cassettes, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of coming at it studio work from singing. So I was working with an engineer who did live sound mixing. He mixed live arena sound for very big acts, for Beach Boys, Herbie Hancock, Jethro Tull, Missing Persons, lots of really big acts. And that was kind of the scene I was circulating in, and that's why I always say I knew exactly who Faye was, because she was one of these girls backstage, always like on the scene, and I was always observing these ladies as character study. So I got an opportunity because one of my friends, Chris Amson, I have to give him credit for it every time, he would be a roommate of mine when he was in between touring. So when he was living locally in Los Angeles, he was working out of a studio called Intersound. And Intersound Studios was the heart of bringing anime to the US from the Los Angeles shores. So he would part-time there, and he said, you know, you've got all these voices, you really might want to come in and observe a session. And I was like, yes, I would like to do that. So I acted very casual about it because I didn't want to put too much hope on it, but I thought this is an opportunity for me to find out what it's like in a professional setting. So I got to observe some auditions, and I saw a number of people coming and going and matching their voices to the pattern of the mouths that were on screen. And at the time, we didn't have Pro Tools. It was all analog, and it was not a digital format.
Matching that lip flap had to be really tricky back then.
Really tricky.
Oh,
You had to
boy.
read time code, 70
Yeah.
time code. And beep, beep, beep.
Go.
Even
Yeah, we didn't have.
Even
It
before
does not
3D?
have
No,
beeps.
we didn't have.
Oh my goodness.
No beeps.
Oh.
Time codes.
You have
no
to
beeps.
read the time
Oh,
code.
God.
So you
That had to be
have,
hard.
on the time code, and some of you may have seen time code striped into the bottom or the top of a working production image. The first integer is an hour, the next two are minutes, the next two are seconds, and the last two are frames. So you look in the script and say you begin speaking at 40 seconds and 20 frames. Frames roll by so fast you can't even see them.
You can't. Yeah.
So you have to prepare your line, know what's being said before and after your line, so you can actually play the role. Your acting kicks in, but the technicality of it is half the game.
Mhm.
So it's a very right brain, left brain.
This was
thing.
your introduction?
This is how I observed this
That was
audition.
daunting, to say the least.
Oh.
I mean, did you think, oh, there's no way I can do this?
First of all, I thought, I could do this. I think I can do it better than some of these guys. And they turned around and went, you know what? Would your friend like to audition? Just like, oh God, careful what you're wishing for privately.
Right.
But I was like, yes, and went running into the booth and tried and realized I sucked and that I really needed to work on it. So I thought, okay, well, this is something I think I can do. Many of us come from, like Melissa and I, a musical background. And if you are musical, it really lends itself to the format.
Mhm.
So when we break down our scripts and we're writing an ADR script, we are using musical terms for how long of a pause to take, how long to sort of stretch an idea, if it's on camera, off camera. There's a number of things that we copy from music. So I thought, well, I have an advantage because I've got some muscle memory for timing, and I think I could get better at this. But I didn't feel discouraged, but I know I wasn't great. But ironically, the auditions were Robotech. And I got cast, and the first thing I ever auditioned for was Vanessa Leeds with the big glasses, Bridge Bunny. She was terrified all the time, and so was I, sir. So it worked out great.
Easy start for you
Yeah.
then. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. It looked daunting, but it turned out to be quite a breeze for you.
Well, I worked really hard at getting better. I went through the whole thing like everybody does, where you first hear your voice play back to you, and you're like, do I sound like that? And so I had to go through that for a spell. It's probably easier for us when we've heard our singing voices. You come to terms with it. So yeah, once I got over that and just applied my heart and my kind of left brain, right brain skills to the task, that's the thing. I still feel challenged by the art form. Do you guys? Yeah, like you get rusty if you're not performing all the time.
Yeah,
So it's you want, it's like you need to play.
You want to be challenged all the time in
Yeah.
any career, don't you?
Totally.
Makes
yes.
it more exciting.
No, I want to be lazy and laid back. Come on.
Okay, so we all have our favorite studios. Like in LA, I love the Warner Brothers Underground. I love recording there. I like the people. We've been recording in studios for years, and then the pandemic comes along, and for those of us who didn't have home studios, we had to build home studios. Now, me coming from a radio broadcast history, I've had a home studio for, God, 30 years. So you clearly have home studios as well.
Yes.
Which do you prefer, recording in the studio or recording at home, Beau?
Well, you know, sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other. But after the pandemic, I like being around people. I like to be in the room with people and interacting and having coffee and telling lies and jokes.
Sure, like you do.
Yeah, so I have to say I like going into the studio. You know, it's comfortable to do it at home too.
Sure, you can record in your underwear.
Yeah, but or naked.
Yeah, you can do that too.
But don't think about what I just said.
Now everybody picture Beau recording naked.
Just
now.
wipe that image from your mind, please. So, but yeah, I like going in. I like going in and seeing folks and giving people hugs and stuff.
Sure, yeah, that human touch. Yeah. Melissa, how about you? Do you prefer recording in the studio or at your home, conveniently?
Well, I really, really enjoy working at home. Wendee and I, during the pandemic, like at the very beginning, like the first week or two in the pandemic, had to work together. She directed me in this adorable
Such
series.
a good show.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Both of us are like, it's adorable.
Princesses.
It changed titles though, didn't it? Didn't it change that? It was for
Little Tiaras.
Little Tiaras.
And it is on YouTube now. We finally found it. We've been looking. We have
Who
to talk.
knows?
We haven't
We need
seen
to
each
catch
other in a
up.
while.
Whose home
really
studio
cute.
was it that you were recording in?
Both of us.
Oh,
I was at mine and she was at hers, and we were figuring out everything.
I see.
Like the technology of it, we had to get through it together. But then, but my husband is a musician and a producer, and he records a lot at home anyway. So we had pretty much the whole setup. We had kind of like floating panels that you could move around. So we just configured it into a little booth, basically, and I still use it. And we ended up upgrading our computer and, just like little tweaks. But I will say, with what Beau said, now that I've started going back into the studio, I really love seeing people. I really do. But the times that, if I know that I only have to record like 3 lines, I ask if I could stay home.
Sure.
And also gas prices are very high, and we're saving the environment if we're not putting our gas, on the street and or on the road. So, so now I kind of pick and choose. If it's a short job, but if it's a big
So
network
project
thing, I'll
by
go to
project, you figure out how it's gonna work.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy going and being with everyone
Oh yeah.
in the studio and in the booth and everything. But sometimes doing it at home is really nice.
There are some people who don't like performing being watched, and of course when you're in the recording studio, you've got the engineer and the director, sometimes the producer, all watching you through the glass.
I don't mind
Doesn't
that.
make you nervous?
An actor who doesn't like being watched.
Right.
Wait,
Right.
what?
They
Right.
exist.
Try doing a love scene that way. Where
By
all the
yourself.
guys are watching you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're by yourself.
And you're just making sounds.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
My-
Wendy, same thing for you.
I'm
Which
going
do
to
you
finish
prefer?
my dirty comment first.
Sure.
My favorite stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I was working with our dear friend Greg Snegoff, who has spirited his life away to a wonderful life in Italy. But he was directing me in a live action film, and the girl has a scene where she bends over and puts something in the oven, and then stands up and she says, "Yeah, I'm not wearing any." And so he starts cracking up. He says, "Let's go to the love scene." I'm like, "Great, okay." And then all of a sudden, these guys come into the room when they start hearing the moaning and so forth. And so I had this long scene. He said, "Just dim the lights and just go through the whole scene and just, get all the noises out." And this was consensual sex, by the way. This is adults. This is, and it was romantic. And it was a normal rating, probably R. And so I go through the whole thing, and I'm like, once in a while looking up, breathing, and okay, they want me to keep going, and then finally at the end, I finish and I'm just standing there and my face just became flush red. And he leans in on the mic, hits the talk back button and says, "We know what you sound like."
Well,
Damn him.
Wow.
let's talk more about Cowboy Bebop now, because
Segue.
it is very much an experimental game in the beginning. I mean, it broke a lot of rules, and one of the experimental factors about Cowboy Bebop is the amazing jazz soundtrack and how that influenced the storytelling, right? So have you all three listened to the soundtrack, and did you dig it?
Of course, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah.
What are your opinions on the soundtrack?
Well, you know, it's awesome. I remember when early on, when I heard some of the soundtrack, I was thinking, oh, I can dig it. There was some brother down in New Orleans
Oh,
who was
yeah.
writing this stuff. He said, yeah, can you dig it? I knew that you could. Yeah, baby. And then I was told who actually wrote the music. A little Japanese girl. And I said, no, wait, what? What? This woman is a genius. This woman is a genius. And Yoko Kanno, I mean, she is just an absolute genius. I'm in such awe of her talent. And the music, you know, it's eclectic, right? I mean, there's jazz, there's blues, there's rock and roll, there's classical music in it. I mean, there's something for everybody. It's so eclectic. And I mean, I'm just somebody that has the talent to write that stuff. I mean, it just literally, it's like Prince playing every instrument that was ever created.
Mhm.
You know, people like that are so talented. It's just,
It's not fair.
it's not fair. I had a chance to meet her once. I think it was in New Orleans. I think, yeah, and I was fanboying and I was starstruck, and this is a direct quote of what I said. Hi.
Fanboy what?
I fanned out because I mean her talent is just unbelievable, you know, unbelievable. But the music is, as you said, John, it's such an integral part of the piece of art that Cowboy Bebop is.
It's so mood setting.
It
Can't
is,
imagine it without
is.
that soundtrack,
Right.
can you?
And does Tank get you ready? 3, 2, 1, let's jam. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It just gets you ready for what's coming, right?
I just wanted to jump in because I just read recently that they recorded all the music before they did the animation. Isn't that amazing? And she put the band seatbelts together for the job, thinking that she wasn't really capable of what the assignment was. And God, did she knock it out? You know, it was just so amazing.
She totally did, and it's like what you were saying. The soundtrack becomes another character. Like I really feel like when music stays with you like that in a series or in a movie, it really, it's such an integral part. But it is like another character, and I always remember the very first session that I came in, and Mary Elizabeth, our director, was there, and she said, before we do anything, before you open the script, before we look at anything, before you look at the character, I want you just to come into this screening room. And we went into the screening room, and big screen in there. She said, I just want you to sit down. I want you to watch the opening credits. Like, I was like, oh, okay. You know, I had no idea. And then it came on, and you know, the whole thing. And I was like, my jaw just dropped, and I was like, this is the show that we're working on? This is what we're doing? And so, yeah, it left quite an impression before we started recording.
Mm-hmm. Same effect for you, Wendee? Did you feel like the music inspired your acting?
Oh, absolutely. It gave the show so much breath. We didn't have to fill every second to keep the audience engaged.
Mm-hmm.
It was the template, the landscape, the spacescape that it created. It layered the show so much, and I think it has so much relevance today. It proves that the show still has relevance and standing now. It feels just as modern and interesting, and I mean in cyberspace, and the whole approach and the character, and for your character to have cybernetics and the whole thing. It's just now has become a huge modern concept. But I really thought that this is a Western show. And that's why it took off so much more in the US than it did in Japan. Yeah. The seatbelts are just phenomenal. I just wanted to say we got to go to we had a big live Bebop event in Los Angeles at Anime Expo. I don't even know how long ago it was, but it was an anniversary. And we had a live band and dancers and how many pieces? Like 12 pieces or something? Yeah. It was phenomenal, and we were all backstage jumping up and down, crying, taking pictures. I mean, with beautiful graphics. So they make appearances elsewhere. I don't know what they call themselves, but some of you might know about that they make. They actually do the graphics and do live performing, and it's phenomenal.
Nice. May I ask some personal questions, moving away from...
No personal questions.
Are you sure?
Yeah, okay, go
The
ahead.
first one's for you. Let me see if I have this right. You graduated UConn Law School, and you passed the Connecticut bar. You were a lawyer, and you decided to be a voice actor instead. Tell me the story behind that. Money? Acting. Money,
Right,
acting.
yeah, when I made my decision to change careers, you know, all my friends, my classmates said, "What are you, stupid?" You know, and but you know, I got a lot of naysayers, and but I talked to my dad, and I told him what I wanted to do, and first of all he said, "Well, you've been acting a fool all your life, you might as well get paid for it." But he did say, he said, "You know what? You follow your dream."
Right,
You follow
right.
your dream, and you know, he said, you know, you have your law degree, you can always come back to it. And if the show business, what did he say? If this show business thing doesn't work out, and you know, I don't know if you guys know, I grew up in Meriden. I went to Maloney High School. I'm very proud to say I'm from Meriden, Connecticut. And so, you know, Hollywood, LA is a long way away, and even New York in terms of what you want to do, because I started my career in New York. And I went to New York and I just said, you know, here I am, and I understand how my classmates and friends said, who does he think he is? You know, he thinks he's going to go to New York and just get jobs and stuff. And but I was lucky, you know, I fooled them. You know, I've been fooling people for a long time. You know, just
How many of those?
Oh, go ahead.
How many of those lawyers ended up on Star Trek?
Oh, I might be the only one. I might be the only one, right?
Well, you were in a number of iconic action shows. You did T.J. Hooker, The
Yeah.
Fall Guy, The A-Team.
Wow, yeah.
How do Bill Shatner, Lee Majors, and George Papard compare? You worked with them.
Yeah. They all treated me with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, that's my bottom line. You know, when I first came to Hollywood, you know, nobody knew my background. I had been in the military, I had practiced law and all of that. And I was just treated like a star.
Wait, you were also in the military?
Yeah.
How many lives have you lived?
Ask them about football.
Yeah.
And football too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you guys, since I'm in Connecticut, I'll talk about this. You know, I was captain of the football team, UConn football team, in 1965. You know, your parents probably weren't even alive then, I don't know. And I was the most valuable player. I had letters from the NFL, and there was also the AFL. There were two professional leagues at that time, right? And I was also offered a contract to play professional baseball out of high school, which my father talked me through not doing that. He said, you know, you need to go to college. You know, you can't sign these contracts. They offered me $18,000 to sign. It's 1962 when I graduated from high school. And he told me real quickly. He told me, he said, let's assume you signed a contract. You got your little $18,000. I was 17 years old. I graduated high school when I was 17, and to me, $18,000 was like,
Oh, that was huge.
I was like a millionaire.
Oh, yeah.
You know, imagine that's so much money. And so
You could have bought 4 cars with that.
Right, and a house maybe, you know? I mean, really.
Yeah.
And so my father said, let's assume you sign a contract, you go to play in the B League in Texas, and you're on dirt fields, there's nobody in the stands, and then you don't make it, what have you got? And he said, now, on the other hand, you have a scholarship to go to college, play football, and maybe you can play baseball in college, and and then when you finish, you have your degree, then maybe you can sign a contract. He said, but it's your decision. My father was a cool, smart man, and I said, I'm going to college. He said, oh, good decision.
Your dad was a smart man.
Yeah. He was never one of those guys who dictate to me. He would talk me around to make my own correct decision. But anyway, we're talking about me, right? Okay.
Yes.
Enough of that. But I'm proud to be from here in Connecticut.
You were in the military also.
Yeah. I was in the Army technically from 66 to 76, but active duty was only from 1970 to 76. So I've had a lot of people screaming at me. Right. Football coaches, drill sergeants, a lot of people.
Mean directors.
You mean director?
Are there any though? I've not had a mean director yet.
I've actually had one.
Have you?
Yeah, it wasn't voiceover. It was an on-camera thing, and it was a really weird situation because I was playing this role. It's called the Final Voyage. It was on a ship, and we get taken by hijackers. And so my first day on the set, I had all these. My first day on the set, we rehearsed the scene, and there were a lot of atmosphere people around, so it was full of a lot of people. And then we did the scene, and we started the scene, and he just goes off on me. He says, that's not what we're doing here, and then blah, 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 blah. And so I said, okay, you and I need to talk. And so I walked off the set away from all these people. He followed me, and I told him, I said, I'll punch you in your, any kids in here? Yeah, so I told him, I said, I don't need this job. And it was a scale plus 10. It was like $300, a day plus 10. It was way back, it was the late 70s, I guess, or something. And I told him, he said, nobody, don't you ever talk to me like this. I said, I don't need this job. I'll walk off the job and you get somebody else. And then he apologized. But then he started doing that to Treat Williams. Treat
Really? Wow.
Treat was about to punch him. Treat, he grabbed him. He grabbed him and said, we were by this reservoir up in Santa Rita, the Saddleback Ranch, and he said, I'll throw you right in that water. And so apparently this guy didn't learn his lesson. I'm not going to use his name, but. It was one of these movies that went straight to DVD.
It was Ron Howard.
No, it was not Ron Howard.
My bad.
Ronnie Howard. I worked for Ronnie Howard in night shift. He was wonderful. He was.
I was
wonderful.
kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ronnie Howard. I love Ronnie Howard. Yeah. But anyway, but the director was really cool because on the DVDs you get the director's extras. The extra, and he actually sitting there said. And Treat Williams almost punched my lights out. He told us, sorry, this guy's a strange man. He was a strange man. But I think that was the only time that I had a director where I was just thinking, well, what are you doing? You're having problems in your life, I understand, but it's not my fault. I didn't do it. And he embarrassed me in front of a room full of people, and he caught me so off guard, because that never happens, number one. And the good directors, they don't shout out directions to you. They'll come up and talk to you quietly, and say, Beau,
respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully. And because a good director like Mary Elizabeth, one of the things about Mary Elizabeth directing Cowboy Bebop, she was an actress, and she still is actress, I guess, But so that a good director not only has to have a clear vision of what they want, but they also have to have the language skills to communicate it to the actor. Because if they can't get it out of their head to get it to you as an actor, you're lost, right? So if you have a director who can, and Wendee Lee, it's the same way. She directs you, she can express what her thoughts are and what she wants, and you say, good, thank you, and I can deliver and give you what you want. So J.J. Abrams in Star Trek, he was like that. He had such a clear vision of what he wanted. It made your life as an actor so much easier because you're not, no, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. You can do it in voiceover.
I'll tell you when you get it right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'll know it when I hear it, right?
Yeah.
But I've also been in the booth. This is my last story. I was also been in a booth where I've given a reading of a loop, and then the director says, no, that's what. And we go through all these versions, and in my mind I say, okay, I'm gonna do what I did the very first take. And I did it, and he said, that's it. That's what I want. That's what I want. And of course, I didn't say a word. You know, and that's the first take that I did, but you didn't know it then, right? So, but you know, there are directors say, I'll know it when I hear it, I'll know it when I see it. But it's also an actor's nightmare because, I mean, you want to deliver what they want, and a lot of times with projects, you don't really know the whole project. Everything's so secret, and so you're not really sure where. Like, if you do a movie with Clint Eastwood, it's a lot different from you doing a movie with Jim Carrey. You know, one is quiet and little dialogue, and the other one's loud and on top of everything. So sometimes you're auditioning for something you don't know because everything is so secretive now in Hollywood.
Sure.
Right? And so you're trying to. It's a guessing game for actors. And so that's why when I audition, I ask for adjustments. If they, you know, because especially on camera, they want to, after you do it, they say, thank you very much, and you know, get out of the room, next person. And so I'll ask, are there any adjustments? And then somebody will say, very often, say, yeah, do it again, Beau, this time, blah, 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 blah. And then, because as a director, you want people to have choices, right? You don't want somebody who can do it one way and that's all. You know, so as a good actor can play all the keys on the keyboard, and you know, talking about music, I think a lot of us have a musical background. My voice coach was a coach at the Metropolitan Opera. He was the coach of a singer probably you've never heard of called Mario Lanza. He was a great tenor in the middle 1900s, and so you know, we had the same voice coach, and I remember him talking that Mario Lanza and I were vocal brothers. Because we had the same voice coach. Okay, enough about me.
There's so much good in there.
Yes.
I just wanted to add, when you are working with a director that is giving you information and language to help you find that performance, I feel obliged as a director to find other language to connect with the actor if they're not connecting with the notes that I'm giving. And what we're really into, especially the three of us, and there's several other kind of the OG crowd of seasoned actors, we're really into a collaborative process. So there is no ego trip on anybody's behalf. And one of the greatest compliments I've gotten from my clients is that I have no ego in the game. It's about what's best for every line and every scene of the show. So it's really giving the actor the most opportunity to find their best voice and performance. And then what Beau is defining is you want trust, so that you trust your team has picked your best take. And you may differ. You may feel, God, I really like the second take. They're going with the third, and then you have to know to let it go. Let it go. You've left your best work, and that's what we'll live on.
It is amazing how quickly time passes when we do these panels. We're nearly out of time already. So I want to do a little thing called this or that, and we'll just go down the line. I'm gonna ask you this or that thing, and you answer quickly. Are you ready, Beau?
No.
Star Trek or
No.
Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Star Trek. Star Wars.
Gas.
But I like them both.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla. Chocolate.
PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox.
PlayStation. Don't know.
I know you'll know this one. Instagram or TikTok? Well, I didn't say you would. I said
Oh, yeah,
when you would.
Instagram, because I'm still behind times.
Instagram.
Insta.
TikTok.
Boo.
Tabletop or online gaming? Good one, huh?
That's the hot seat.
Tabletop.
Tabletop.
Okay. Visit the past or see the future?
See the future.
Stay in the present.
Visit the past.
That's not an option. That's not an option.
Then visit the past.
Okay.
Past.
The past, okay.
What about the future? I want to know the future. Who wants to know the future? Yeah.
Okay, there's a few more. Marvel or DC?
Oh my God.
I asked the tough ones, don't I?
Okay. DC, Marvel.
Melissa?
Marvel. Disney.
Also not an option, but okay. Well, it's okay. Okay, you'll like this one. Tattoo or piercing?
Neither.
That's fine. But if you had to choose, tattoo or piercing?
Wait, can I ask a question quickly about this?
Absolutely.
You know, the nose ring?
Yeah.
Moo.
And it looks like your nose is untidy. I'm trying to figure out how do you come to do that? It's like I'm looking. Oh, your nose is run. Oh no, it's a tattoo. Okay, but I don't get that. I guess I'm an old guy. I don't know. I don't know.
So you can pull them around with a string.
Okay, I interfered with the game. Okay, sorry.
Melissa, tattoo or piercing?
Ooh, how many piercings are we talking?
Just one, and one tattoo. One or the other. If you were going to get one, what would it be?
Piercing.
Okay, Wendee?
Piercing, one of my first jobs, I ended up being a piercer, and I'm a needle folk.
I thought you were a dancer first.
Oh, yeah, dancer for sure, but paying the bills?
Okay, now we'll start with you and come back the other way with this
Okay.
one. Vampires or werewolves? Wendee?
Vampires.
Vampires.
Vampires. Yeah.
Okay, you'll like this one, Beau. Silent but deadly or loud and harmless?
Loud and harmless.
Ladies?
Take the fifth.
Take the fifth.
See, if you have a dog, silent but deadly is okay.
No,
You
it
can
isn't.
blame it on the dog.
Yeah, but it's still suffocating you.
Yeah.
No opinions on that one? We'll let it
No
go.
opinions.
Okay,
Okay.
here's another. Mac or PC?
I'm a Mac guy.
Mac.
Mac. 80s or 90s?
I like the 80s. A lot of action TV shows that I did. Yeah.
80s.
80s.
All right, last question for the panel. If you were not a voice actor, what would you be doing today?
You mean professionally? What I would be doing?
Yeah.
Well, at my age, I'd probably be doing nothing.
Be retired.
Yeah, I'd be retired. This is one of the few businesses
Yelling at
where
kids,
we
"Get
don't
off my
retire anything
lawn!"
else, right? Yeah, so you're forced to retire our business. I don't want to retire. Okay, your turn.
Melissa?
Are you talking acting altogether, performing altogether, or just voice
Oh,
acting?
yeah, no acting at all. What
No
would you be doing?
acting.
Outside of the acting world, what would you be doing?
You can't say singing.
I can't say music teacher. Okay, oh man. I'd be a hairdresser. Oh, I love doing hair.
How about you, Wendee?
Archaeology or healing arts?
Pretty cool.
I
That's
said-
pretty cool.
Awesome. Or I'd be a chef.
Uh-huh.
Chef
Okay,
or
and
hairdresser.
this is absolutely the last question because it's important that we know. What is your next ConnectiCon schedule? What are you doing when you leave here, Beau? Where are you going?
Going to the table to see my fans.
My band.
Yeah.
Wendee?
Table.
It's autograph time.
Yeah. We'll see you Thursday, Cowboys.
All right, y'all can catch me tonight at the Sexy Naughty Late Night Party. If you're over 21, we hope to see you at 8:30. Thank you for coming to the Cowboy Bebop podcast.
Thanks for coming, y'all.
Let's hear it for our wonderful guests. They were great.
You guys are great. You guys
No, I was just grabbing my mic. Okay, I wasn't sure if I was standing right when you were filming.
Hi, Tisha Valenza, aka Poison Ivy, and you've just been watching King's Entertainment Reviews. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.